Hi everyone and welcome back to Scale Studio. Today we're going to be looking through the box of this beautiful model from AFV Club, the IDF Centurion Shot. Now it's one of my favorite tanks, so I can't wait to see what AFV Club has done with it. Alright, so opening up the box you can see it's completely full of sprues, each wrapped up like this. And then you can also see that we got the little plastic bag of wheels on the top there as well. So first up you can see that we got the one-piece hull here, which is very finely molded. You can also see all of the different guide pins on it, which will make assembly easy. There are some weld seams on the bottom, which kudos for them, but for some of them they do not look good at all, and I'll be replacing them with epoxy putty. Now on this, once again, very well molded sprue, we have the headlight guards, sand shield, brackets, bunch of stuff like that. Got some parts for the exhausts, also the tensioning bar it looks like. You can see the pickaxe head there, as well as the headlight guards right there. Super well molded. Those are going to be kind of hard to take off because they're so fine. We have more to the exhaust and then intake louvers. There is some flash on this, but it's pretty negligible and you should be able to clean it up with a hobby blade. Now Sprue C has many of the large hull details. So it's got the turret ring, some small parts for the back. You can see the fender boxes there for stowage, bits of the exhaust again. I'm going to replace those handles on the stowage box with wire because they're just solid bricks. You can see the glacis plate right there. And then a little bit up, we've got the engine deck, which looks really nice. That'll really pop in a wash. You can see the tools down there and then the driver's hatch as well as the back armor plate. It looks like the intake vent and then some other details like that. Now this is the one clear sprue that comes in the kit, and quite honestly it's a pretty big clear sprue for a tank. It has the periscopes, the cupola, as well as some other different bits and pieces for headlights and such. It's very well molded and there's no problems with the clear parts, which is great. Now Sprue E came with the springs for the bogies and the polycaps in it. There's not much to say about the springs or polycaps, they're just, springs or polycaps. They're all well molded and the springs look very high quality, so that'll be good. Moving on to the actual sprues, there are two of them, so I'll get rid of one. You can see the bogies up there. They're mainly two pieces. There's some small pieces for the suspension, which actually does work, which is great. Then below it you can see the road wheels, drive sprocket, return rollers, more parts to the bogies, the caps for the drive sprocket and road wheels. Now you can really see how sharp the detail is on these road wheels and drive sprocket. They look really good and they're going to look great with whole pin wash on them, and then, well, it'll all be covered in mud anyways, but this is going to be a desert tank, so hopefully it won't be. You can really see how much detail there is on that drive sprocket there. It's pretty amazing, and I can't wait to get a pin wash on it. Now Sprue H has the drive hubs as well as the fenders. It also has a couple more parts like the tensioner bar system as well as the driver's hatch. some other things for the back of the vehicle as well as parts for the front. So this is just a bunch of little parts that kind of go everywhere. The fenders are the main part, and they are very well designed. They fit great and have very little flash on them, and there are no pin marks on the wrong side, so it'll all be covered and it'll look great. Now, Sprue H with an outlined H is mainly just for the machine gun. We're not going to be reusing any of the other pieces on this. They may be good for scratch building, but other than that I don't see a use for them. I doubt that any others are going to be used. If I remember correctly, maybe one or two will. But it's mainly just the machine gun, which is really well done. Now, as you can probably see, this is mostly the turret sprue. So we've got turret boxes, the top of the turret, the gun mantlet, and a bunch of other little details. You can see the hatches, as well as some of the vents on top, and just little parts that fit into it. We're not going to be using that little M1919 there, but I believe we'll be using the jerry can. There's the fume extractor for the gun, as well as shields for the periscopes. And there's the mantlet. Neither it nor the turret are very well textured, so we'll be redoing those. Then we get on to the boxes, which are really well done, but need to have the handles redone. Sprue A, although it is large, it only has two pieces, the two side skirts. Now, these do have a bunch of handles on them, but I'm going to be shaving them all off and replacing them because they're not good. They're just little bricks of plastic, and who likes that, right? But otherwise, it looks pretty good. Sprue N and S had a ton of small parts. You can see Sprue N here. It's got the exhaust vents. You can see another part for the back. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's probably like a mud flap or something like that. You can see more little parts, and it's all molded very well. Sprue S here, you can see the tow hook cables. Those are really good, right on. They have almost no seam line even, which is a bonus. You can see some jerry cans that'll go on the turret, as well as some antennas and antenna parts. So those are going to be hard to clean up, but they'll definitely be worth it in the end. Next we have the two turret halves, which are from Sprue I, but either were broken off or cut off before they were packaged. I found them separate, and I think that was consistent with a review I saw, so it may just be that they were cut off. They do have a lot of flash, and this is one of the major cleanups that you have to do for this model. Next we've got the rubber road wheels, which you can tell are very cleanly done with no visible seam line, which is going to make them very easy, especially since rubber road wheels are already super easy to paint. Next we have the singular resin piece that goes on the back of the hull. This is fairly crudely casted. It's a little bit warped, and the underneath the little handle there had to be cleaned out with an X-Acto knife. But I think if you are careful with it and work slowly, you should have a very satisfying part at the end. Next we have this small bag that has the photo etch, decals, and tow cable. Here are the photo etch pieces, if I can get them out. So first up we have photo etch G, fret G. So it's very well done. It's a little bit thick and a little bit warped on some pieces, but as you can see on both of them, this is photo etch fret M, that they actually are very cleanly done. We now have the beautiful gun barrel. It's made out of metal, and so it's going to be very easy to install. It's got a little bit of rifling, and this is just going to add a little bit of realism to your model. Next we have the tracks that come with the kit. They're simple rubber band tracks, and although they're not metal tracks, they do have nice detail. There is a little bit of flash, which isn't going to require too much cleanup, but they have good detail, and I'm not too worried about sag since we're going to have side skirts in place anyway. Next we have the decals. These are a little bit disappointing. This turned out to be the only sheet that was usable. You can see that they're very nice though. They look a little bit transparent, but that should be okay. But as you can see on the other set of decals, they've been severely damaged by water and may not be usable. I want to try, since these are the Mark V's, which I actually prefer, but we'll just see how that turns out because that's really damaged. Next is the instruction sheet, and I'll just let you guys see what's going on in each one. But as you can see, they're very clearly written, and there's not too much that you can mess up on here. As far as I've found so far, the parts are accurate and assembly is logical, although the road wheels should be always put on last. I'm going to keep the road wheels and side skirts off when I build it, just to make sure that I can keep it paintable and weatherable. But as you can see, they're very clearly done and well put together. Now, since we're coming to the end of the video, I guess I should give you guys my synopsis on what I think. I think this is a great kit with a lot of promise, especially since it's got the turned metal gun barrel and the rubber road wheels. It's going to make it great for building, and it's going to make it really realistic. A couple cons are the turret has a lot of flash on it, and it's going to take a lot of cleanup. It also doesn't have a ton of texture to it, so that's going to have to be retextured, but that's an optional step, obviously. I'm also planning on replacing the grab handles, as those aren't great either. There are a lot of them, and so hopefully I can economize and make the process as seamless as possible. But that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, please let me know by leaving a like down below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, as that helps me out a ton. Also, please check out my Patreon page and consider pledging, as it helps keep content from the studio flowing. Plus, you guys can get stuff like daily workbench posts, live chat with me, live streaming, and 1 week early access to my videos. On top of that, those who pledge to higher tiers will also get bonus tutorials and reviews on aftermarket products, weathering tools, and more. It's also completely customizable with the choice of $1, $5, $10, $15, and $20 a month pledges, allowing you to choose the perks you want. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.